It is an honor to be able to interview you in this forum. The ICD welcomes Professor Monroy. My first question would be, Professor Monroy, you dedicate a lot of your efforts in promoting Latin America classic and traditional music and its values in Europe. Music, rhythm and dance in fact represent some of the main aspects that particularly characterize the Latin American identity. Why do you think it is so? And what are the main cultural differences with the European tradition?
Yes, as you know, I am the founder and chairman of the Latin American and Caribbean Cultural Society, which is an independent and non-profitable organization. This idea was created by me and others intellectuals in Latin America in 1983. So next year we are going to celebrate, we call it the Pearl Jubilee, 30 years promoting the Latin American culture to Europe and to other countries in the world. So, and our aim, obviously, is to connect people with different cultural background, and we selected the music mainly because we think music is something in your heart and easily to understand, to communicate, and to send your message. And the second reason is because Latin American is very rich in the music heritage, and not only the popular music, but also classical music. And this is one important point to mention here, because classical Latin American music is not very well known, like the European music, you know. So we have been for 30 years promoting this classical Latin American music in the main hall in London, with orchestras, soloists, and so on. More than 300 musicians, soloists, we bring to Latin America to perform to London, which is a very important international center for the music, you know. So, and the other part of the question is difference in connection with Europe. We have been a sort of Europeization in music, and we think now it's time for us to Latinize a little bit more Europe. This is a phenomenon happening in America, and we think that is coming more and more to Europe, no? So Europe, I talked to musicians in Finland, for example, mainly classical guitar, because I play the guitar, and they said to us, look, we always look for new inspirations in music, rhythm, sound, and so on, and here in Finland, you know, we have nothing new about that. So for us, Latin American is a good reference to as a composer, as a musician. So there you are. You see, this is one of our main aims, to connect Latin America culture, music, and Europe to Europe.
Okay, thank you. I pass the microphone to my colleague.
Professor Monroy, on a more political perspective, to what extent do you believe sharing common cultural aspects such as traditional music provides Latin American with a platform to build a common political strategy and identity? And what are the steps forwards towards more political integration that countries in the region should undertake?
Yes, I think that with these questions, the common cultural tradition of Latin America is different than Africa, for example, to Asia. No, if you look the globe, even to Europe, we have common values. We have first the language. We speak Spanish. Second, we have a same platform in religion. We are Christian. We don't have problem with group distortion, nothing like that. So we think that these common values, in some way, are very positive and very valuable for the intelligentsia, Latin American intelligentsia, intellectuals, writers or musicians, you know, or even in sport, you know. The football was invented in England, and Brazil is the number one country in the World Cup. So you see, we have some sort of element in Latin America who we say very valuable, and we can contribute to all countries in the world. Politically, as I mentioned, its culture is important, obviously. The connection between culture and politics is just, coming together. The football, for example, which is the main sport in all Latin America. Politicians who want to be popular, always they are connected to the football, to the sport. To extend democracy in Latin America as well, Mexico is one case. When the revolution started in 1910, apart from the agrarian reform, apart from the civil war happening in more than 25 years in Mexico, developed another orientation in the culture, who was the nationalism in music. So emerged a very rich idea to create a nationalistic culture in Mexico, not in terms of chauvinism, but rooted in the traditional culture of Mexico. And we have the painter, the current painters. We have the music, all these nationalistic Silvestre Revueltas in Mexico, who wrote the symphony, the Mayas, the Sense Maya, or the Night of the Mayas, the Maya civilization in Central America. And that music is rooted in the history of Central America and Mexico. So we have in Argentina Alberto Ginastera, another Argentine composer, and also he inspired his music in the tradition, history, or the folk of the Argentine. And Hector Villalobos from Brazil. Villalobos, to write his music, he toured all the country in Brazil. He lived and have a beer with peasants and share with the popular people, and he wrote his music, which is also rooted in Brazilian popular tradition, you see.
Yeah.
So, and he was so important in Brazil, the President Vargas, in Brazil in 1945, 47, take him and say, look, you are a great composer, you will be in charge in Brazil to organize massive choir in the cities, So it became with Vargas, who is a popular government. Also came Villalobos and organized a very popular, expanded musical movement in Brazil, very rich.
Yeah.
So I think politics in that sense is very important and connected in a positive way,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thank you. The last question will regard cultural diplomacy. In fact, what do you see as a common cultural diplomacy practice within the Latin American strategy? And can you identify some concrete and specific issues regarding this matter?
Yeah, well, at the moment, Latin America is in the process of transition. If you look the world, the conflicts, the crisis in the world, Europe, Middle East, Far East, and so on, Latin America now is in a specific process in which the identity of Latin America are building up more strongest. And as a Latin American build his identity strongest in a world, globalization world, I think it's going to play a more important role internationally. Not only at a secondary continent or something like that. Yeah. So I think that the future for Latin America is tremendous, in my point of view, compared with other regions. Conflict from everywhere at the moment, and Latin America look in a position like Brazil, Argentina, or Chile, Colombia, or Mexico. All are in a process to economically strongest. They are exported of mineral raw materials as well, industrializations, and they're very attractive for the investment from the Asian countries. The last agreement we have in Latin America is the Pacific Alliance in between Canada, USA, Mexico, Colombia, Peru, and Chile, because the future world, is my opinion, is not going to develop in Europe. It's going to develop to the Pacific. And that's new development for the Pacific, because China, Japan, all these areas, Southeast Asia, will become industrialized, Korea and so on. It's a tremendous market, potential market for our countries in Latin America, vice versa. No? So the main investor now in Chile, for example, is China and India, or even South Africa. So I think that all these political, economic changes are favorable for Latin America to make it more stable, politically stable. That it was in the 70s or in the 80s. America is different now than it was in the 70s or the 80s. So the global strategy has been changed, and Latin American position will be more favorable for us to develop more stronger, with more progress in art, in music and painting, all the expression of the culture. The standard of living rising rising very fast as well. The trade with the Latin American, the coast with the China, mainly with China, with India, that's the biggest market, is going to improve. We have a stagnation, or inflation is very low at the moment. Unemployment is low, so there are many opportunities for youngest in Latin America, many opportunities for investment as well.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Professor Monroy. It was an honor and a privilege having you here to speak with us. Thank you again.
Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you very much.